Hello, BookTube. Who's up for a little mail? Let's see what we have here. No boxes, and a couple of thin packages, but we're not afraid of those anymore on this channel, right? Because if they're book catalogs, so much the better, and if they're slim volumes of poetry, we have come to like slim volumes of poetry. Some of them that meet our harsh critical standards. Look at this thing. It's tiny. So let's see what this is. I'm betting it's a slim volume of poetry. Maybe we'll read some of it on Poetry Tuesday. Let's see. Look at that. It is a slim volume of poetry. Okay, so this comes out on October 1st. This is Nervous System by Rosalie Moffat. Nervous System. So who is Rosalie Moffat? She's the author of June in Eden, winner of the Ohio State University Press / Journal Prize. And she has been awarded the Discovery Boston Review Prize, a Wallace Stegner Fellowship in Creative Writing from Stanford, and a scholarship from Tin House Workshop and Breadloaf Writers Conference. Very nice. Very impressive. Okay, so this is... I've learned that that reading the pub sheets for volumes of poetry is almost useless. We will instead read a poem and see... can we find one that's short enough to read right now? Oh no, she's fond of longer poems with no differentiations, no titles, no nothing. So as far as I know, this is a whole poem. Okay, well, I will read it myself and get back to you. So let's move on. We started indeed with a slim volume of poetry. So what's the matter? What's the matter? Let's see what this next one is. A finished copy of something. All right, this is from Yale University Press. Comes out any day now, and it's called What We Did in Bed, A Horizontal History by Brian Fagan and Nadia Durrani. A fascinating history of the bed, some 70,000 years in the making. Over the centuries, the bed has played a crucial role in the lives of everyday person Okay, I'm going to rewrite this as I go along. Several words are missing and several others are out of order. Over the centuries, the bed has played a crucial role in the lives of people, from the everyday person to the most famous. Louis XIV ruled France from his bedchamber. Winston Churchill governed Britain from his during World War II. Okay, all right. Okay, let's skip the rest of this since we've had typos, grammatical errors, syntactical errors, and factual errors. So let's just skip the rest of it and go to the bullet points. This book covers the literal rise of the bed, how it made its first appearance 70,000 years ago as resting places dug in the earth, which is the natural way and the way I still prefer. My bed is about as low to the ground as it can get. In fact, I often think I have a pre-World War II old bed in the little book room. I don't use it much for sleeping, of course. And I've often thought it's ancient metal box springs and a mattress that's fairly new. And I've often thought about just getting rid of the box springs and just putting the mattress on a pile of pillows on blankets on the floor. Or maybe even get rid of the box spring and just have a pile of pillows and blankets on the floor. I haven't done that. I have a sort of sentimental attachment to the old thing. It's been with me everywhere. But yeah, the closer to the ground, the better. Okay, let's see here. The book also covers sex and the bed, childbirth and the bed, moving beds, the public bedchamber, beds on the road, beds in the urban sprawl, beds in the deathbed, the fascinating and varied ways the bed factored into dying, from Tutankhamun being buried on a golden bed, wealthy Greeks were sent to the afterlife on dining beds, and deceased middle-class Victorians were propped up on a bed in the parlor. Okay, well, all right, so it's a study of the bed. Comes out in a few days, and, you know, my usual reservations with this kind of book apply, because it's the study of 70,000 years of the bed in human history, and it's that big. So, is it being poorly served by its pub sheet, and it's really the study of one aspect of the bed, or is it, you know, a history of the world in 10 drinks, that sort of fake history thing that is served up in order to attract the eye of people in bookstores who don't read any nonfiction, and who, I guess the presumption on the part of the publishing industry is that since they don't read nonfiction, they'll be attracted to dumb nonfiction. I don't know why that would be the assumption, but nevertheless, We shall see. I'll see if it's. It could also be the third alternative is that it's the authors giving us a meditation on beds in human history, without really trying to be systematic or comprehensive, and that could be a lot of fun. I've known books like that on many keyhole subjects that were a lot of fun. Okay, we have a 2020 book next. This is by Emuna Elon, and it's House on Endless Waters. Let's see here. At the behest of his agent, renowned author Joel Bloom reluctantly agrees to visit his birthplace of Amsterdam to meet with his Dutch publisher, despite promising his late mother that he would never return to that city. Why would he make such a promise? Amsterdam's lovely. While touring the Jewish Museum with his wife, Joel stumbles upon a looping reel of photographs offering a glimpse of pre-war Dutch Jewish life, and is astonished to see the youthful face of his beloved mother staring back at him, posing with her husband, Joel's older sister Nettie, and an infant he doesn't recognize. Okay, I'm hooked already. This unsettling discovery launches him into a fervent search for the truth, revealing Amsterdam's dark wartime history and the underground networks that hid Jewish children away from danger, but at a cost. The deeper into the past Joel digs, the better he understands his mother's silence, and the more urgent the question that has unconsciously haunted him for a lifetime, who am I, becomes. Oh my. Okay, so the author, Emuna Elon, is an internationally best-selling, critically acclaimed novelist, journalist, and women's activist. Born in Jerusalem to a family of prominent rabbis and scholars, she was raised in Jerusalem and New York. She teaches Judaism, Hasidism, and Hebrew literature. Her first novel translated into English, If You Awaken Love, was a National Jewish Book Award finalist. And this thing comes out in a hardcover in early January of 2020. So, all right. So, an Amsterdam novel. Very nice. Many, many, many fond memories of Amsterdam. Let's see. Let's move on here. What is this next one? Okay. All right. So, all right. This is unknown to me. This is also a 2020 release, also $27. This is coming out in February. Why do I remember this? I remember this. Did I see this in a British BookTubers channel? Maybe I did. This looks like the American release of Douglas Stewart's novel Shuggie Bang. The unforgettable story of young Hugh Shuggie Bang, a sweet and lonely boy who spends his 1980s childhood in rundown public housing in Glasgow, Scotland. Thatcher's policies, that's Margaret Thatcher, Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, Thatcher's policies have put husbands and sons out of work, and the city's notorious drugs epidemic is waiting in the wings. Shuggie's mother Agnes walks a wayward path. She is Shuggie's guiding light, but a burden for him and his siblings. He dreams of a house with its own front door, while she flicks through the pages of the Freeman's catalog, ordering a little happiness on credit, anything to brighten up her gray life. Married to her philandering taxi driver husband, Agnes keeps her pride by looking good. Her beehive, makeup, and pearly white false teeth offer a glamorous image of a Glaswegian Elizabeth Taylor. But under the surface, Agnes finds increasing solace in drink, and she drains away the lion's share of each week's benefits, all the family has to live on. Agnes is supportive of her son, but her addiction has the power to eclipse everything close to her, even her beloved Shuggie. Okay. A heartbreaking story of addiction, sexuality, and love. Shuggie Bang is an epic portrayal of a working-class family that is rarely seen in fiction. Shuggie is meanwhile struggling to somehow become a normal boy he desperately longs to be, but everyone has realized that he is no right, a boy with a secret that all but him can see. And the pub sheet says that this book recalls the work of Edouard Louis, Alan Hollinghurst, Frank McCourt, and Hanya Yanagihara. And it's a debut novel, but considering the first two, Edward Louis and Alan Hollinghurst, I guess we know what Shuggie's secret is. It could only be one thing. Okay. All right, so this is a debut. Great. Comes out in February. I could swear I've heard of it before. I'll have to rack my brains, or maybe one of you will tell me. It's almost certainly made the rounds in the UK booktube circuit. That's almost certainly where I heard about it. Let's see. Let's move on here. What is this next one? Okay, all right. This is an odd mail haul. Very odd. This comes out in early October. This is by Jack Jemk, and it is called False Bingo. It's a tiny little thing called False Bingo. As an unabashed, self-proclaimed connoisseur of all things uncanny and hair-raising, it has been such a pleasure to discover the stories of Jack Jemk, Jemc. False Bingo, out on October 8th, is an exciting step forward for this author, a Chicago native whose last book, The Grip of It, dove into the disquieting world of ambiguity and paranoia and quickly became a standout hit for booksellers and literary horror fans alike. So is that what this is, literary horror? It's a collection of stories. In 20 chilling, tantalizing stories, False Bingo picks right up where The Grip of It left off. Okay, so this is a collection of horror stories. And the author was, The Grip of It was a finalist for the Chicago Book Awards for fiction and one of Vulture's top 10 best thrillers of 2017. And the author has won a lot of awards. Okay. Great. All right. That's kind of odd. All right. Didn't request it. Don't know anything about it, but I'm all for it. So I will. It's coming up too. It's right around the corner, so I can get to it without any kind of guilt. Although I'm still wading through September books. So even to read them all, not even just a question of reviewing, just a question of reading them all, is just taking a lot of time. So let's see what this next one is. This is our last one. Oh boy. Okay, great. This is an essay collection. We saw the advance copy of this. This is an October book, I believe. Yes, this is an October book. And it really needs no introduction. I'm assuming that's why it's not going to get one. No, it's not going to get one. Okay. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. This is the great Terry Tempest Williams. And this is Erosion. Essays of Undoing. It's got blurbs from everybody. Leslie Marmon, Soko, Rick Bass. And it deserves them. It deserves them already. I've had the advance copy of this, and I haven't got to it. But Terry Tempest Williams is, to put it mildly, a known quantity. Terry Tempest Williams is a great, great author. Okay. Well, great. All right, then. So this is October 8th. I really need to get to this right away. So we got a couple of things here that I really need to get to right away. So that is, what an odd assortment here. I never know what I'm going to get on this channel, and therefore you never do either. You're kind enough to follow me along on these mail hauls. So we have Terry Tempest Williams, Erosion, Essays of Undoing. This is the latest Terry Tempest Williams. Then we have False Bingo by Jack Jemk. I did not read The Grip of It, so this is going to be new to me. Then Shuggie Bang by Douglas Stewart. Douglas Stewart's apparently heralded debut. 1980s Glasgow. Anybody? Then House on Endless Waters, a historical novel about Amsterdam during World War II, but bracketed with the present day. Then What We Did in Bed, a slim overview of the bed's role in 70,000 years of human history, and The Nervous System, a slim volume of poetry, which is no longer a thing of foreboding on this channel. We like our slim volumes of poetry now, provided they give us good reading, which is the same yardstick that we use with any kind of reading of any kind, of any genre. So there you go. That is our mail haul. The bean is a little exhausted. We had a very, very long walk earlier today, a beautiful day. At one point, we were deep in the woods, and she froze and just was paying just unbelievably focused attention to a low-hanging branch of a bush. And I knew right away from her posture that someone had left, that a dog had left a spore behind. A dog had marked that, hadn't just peed on it, but had marked it. And Frida hasn't encountered much of that. Most of the dogs around here have been neutered, so they don't do that. They pee, yes, fine, and that has lots of information in it. That is a whole conversation in its own right, but it's not the same thing as leaving a sexual mark on something. So I squatted down so I could be head to head right next to the bean and examine it myself, and immediately recognized it. I immediately remembered it from that particular smell from my days in the American West, from all the time that I spent tramping all around every inch of the American West with a crowd of beagles. It was a coyote. A coyote had marked that low-hanging branch, and had done so fairly recently. A male coyote, and young. No way for me to explain it to Frida. Not at all. It's totally outside of her reference. We haven't. She hasn't encountered a horse yet. She has never encountered a fox. She has never encountered a coyote. She has never seen a bird bigger than a robin on the ground. So a hawk she's never seen one close to the ground, close enough to see that it's a living thing. And a whole bunch of other things. A coyote would be an amazing meeting. A coyote or a fox. There are coyotes and there are foxes in the woods where we went. And that would be an amazing meeting because I would have no worry. I wouldn't want a hawk to get too close to Frida. She's just the right size to be picked off for a luncheon buffet. But foxes and coyotes are my own. They're my own people. They're not going to bother Frida. They're probably not going to pay much attention to her either. Although, you never know. She is an unspayed female canine. So she may attract their attention. But in the past, I've had unspayed dogs with me in the past. And when I've encountered foxes and coyotes and even wolves, and their interest is always on me and not on the dog. But you never know. It would be fun to see. It'd be fun to get a picture of that. Oh my! I know. I'm not 100% sure about what we smell today, but I know that there's at least one breeding pair of coyotes where we walk. So it might have been the male. It might have been the male of that pair. I don't know. But that was the day's big adventure, and there was no way for me to tell Frida what was going on. You know, she knew that she smelled something strange, but she didn't know what it was, and there's no way for me to tell her what it is. Unfortunately, because she doesn't have the right part of her brain. Not the right part. She doesn't have the human part. Humans have a part of their brain that allows them to imagine things that they have not encountered. And Frida doesn't have that part of her brain. She has lots of parts you don't have, so don't get up on your high horse. But she doesn't have that part. I need something to show her before she can remember it and categorize it or do anything like that. But in addition to that moment, she's also pooped because we walked a long way. Kind of pooped myself, getting a little too old for such hill and dale climbing. But it's so much fun when you have a new person to do it with, especially since a lot of the terrain that we covered today, I was never able to cover with my girls, for instance, my last two dogs, because they couldn't stand to be away from each other. They couldn't stand to even be out of sight of each other. And one of them was a fat, gassy little basset hound who didn't really like covering terrain and wasn't able to do it. If the terrain got a little too steep or a little too rough, we just had to haul her up, and that's a bit of a strain. My pointer could probably have handled anything, but she didn't want to be away from her sister, so a lot of that terrain just went unexplored. I covered all of it years and years ago with my beagles, who could go anywhere. But now I get to do it all over again, only time has not been kind. It's terrible being 28. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up for now, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.